So Trigger is back with a brand new anime, or guess I should say brand new animal, everybody. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, huh? So anyways, cringiness aside, geez. This is their first new anime since Promare and their first new TV series since SSSS Gridman. There may be more or less S's in there, I already lost count. But with this brand new anime coming out, it's gotten people really excited for the series. So I'm here to give my first impressions based off the one episode that I've seen. This will not be encompassing the 6 episodes that are already out for people to watch. If you're in certain regions, I'm just going to be covering episode 1 and my first impressions. As well, if you don't like negative things said about Trigger or Darling in the Franxx or Gridman, then this video probably isn't for you. In fact, if you can't handle criticisms of series that you like, I understand, I've been there, then you may not want to watch this video. I have other videos on my channel though, if you want to watch those, but if you want to stick with it, then please keep an open mind. This is just an opinion. I mean no harm. So with that being said, I haven't had much love for Trigger in recent years. I haven't seen Promare yet, granted, but I have seen Darling in the Franxx and SSSS Gridman, and both of those anime I thought were really bad. I didn't like them at all, and my neighbors decide to start mowing during a video. It's complicated, so there's just gonna be a lawnmower in the background. It's fine. But pretty much ever since Kill La Kill and the Little Witch Academia movies, even the Little Witch Academia TV series, Trigger stuff never caught on with me, and I don't think they're as good of a studio as many people say they are. I think they have great original ideas. Their art direction is spectacular, probably one of my favorite art directions in all of anime right now. They're a great studio. It's just when it comes to a track record, I find more often than not, outside of Kill La Kill and Little Witch Academia and a couple others, it's quite a poor output in terms of what I personally enjoy. So going into this, I kept an open mind, but I was worried this wouldn't be another anime that I enjoyed. So I was surprised when after watching this first episode, I ended up really loving this series. And that's probably for the simple fact that Yo Yoshinari and Kazuki Nakashima are working on this. And you can really see that just right off the bat. The inspirations we see in every Trigger anime, the Evangelion inspirations are immediately there, with a new city off in the distance when the raccoon girl, we don't even learn her name in this first episode, which I found strange, but the raccoon girl in this episode, when she's on top of the truck, it's much like the first episode of Evangelion. It's the same kind of setting, it's the same kind of scenery that we see in that first episode of Evangelion. So the inspirations are already there. It's to be expected that there would be some sort of Evangelion references in BNA. Typically, at least, Trigger does end up setting itself apart in some way from just being another Evangelion-inspired series. We see this with the humans versus the beasts. Now, you can obviously go ahead and say, well, that's like angels versus humans from Evangelion. I think it's something that, based off this first episode, we can go ahead and look past for now, because it seems there's this kind of class war between humans and beasts. First, we see this poster where humans and beasts are holding hands, and then we see a bunch of thugs who go and spray paint "Beastmen should die." And it turns out as well, there is this Beastman special zone, and there's a protest against the Beastman special zone. And in the Beastman special zone is Anima City, or I guess it's Anima City. So there's this place called Anima City, and it's basically this place where all of the beasts, all of the animal-like people go to live, which I think is a pretty cool concept. And this place was basically developed after the Beastman territory law was passed. So already I think we can expect in the future to see some politics come into play, some political figures come into play. In fact, we already do in episode 1 with the Prime Minister Shiramitsu. It's probably not Shiramitsu. But we see that when Mayor Rose talks to the Prime Minister seems a little bit more threatening than happy, even though he's like, congratulations for 10 years. You know, if the beasts get dangerous, something bad may happen. It seemed to come off very threatening. And actually, Mayor Rose, in many ways, comes off as a little bit mysterious, I would say. Maybe a little bit sneaky in terms of the way they place her in this episode. I definitely could see a future where Mayor Rose could be part of the antagonists. But we get, through this episode, introduced to our main character, who I'm just going to call Raccoon Girl right now because I don't even know what her name is because they didn't even say it in the first episode. Now, the Raccoon Girl, she's fairly smart. She knows people. She seems to be street smart as well. And so when she is saved after being attacked by a group of thugs who basically want her dead, she immediately talks to the person who saved her and is like, okay, so what money do you want? So it definitely seems like she's very, very smart. And you know what? We're just going to call her Kage Mori because that's her actual name on my anime list. I decided to go ahead and look up the name. So her name's Kage Mori. So she's transported to Anima City. And in Anima City, we see just this beautiful, vibrant art on display. Trigger is so good with their art. Even the series that I don't like from Trigger, I love their art direction. Darling in the Franxx, Gridman. Some of the best art direction in the business. And you also have series like Kill La Kill, which just looks so great and looks very similar in style to BNA. So if you're a fan of Kill La Kill, you're probably gonna like the way BNA looks, at least in terms of art direction. But she goes through this city, she goes to the center, and they throw this festival. And this festival is really interesting because as they're holding this festival, there's someone that plants explosives to destroy these beams to drop this big monitor onto people. And they're basically terrorists. Which I don't even know if I can say that word on YouTube, but I did. They're terrorists. And Kage Mori kind of gets blamed by this. She runs back into the wolf she's seen earlier that's always crying, and he's like, you're the one who did this. I'm like, I just punched a beam. I didn't do anything. It's not me. I'm telling you, it's not. So what he does is he uses his sense of smell to go and track down these terrorists that have caused this terrible event to occur. And the way they visualize it is so great. He basically closes his eyes, he starts smelling, and everything goes black. But he can kind of see where people once were through his smell-o-vision. That's really what it is. It's like smell-o-vision. It's really cool. But it may sound me describing it very corny, but as you can see, it looks really cool. And I think the way they did this just made this part really fascinating. It had me on the edge of my seat just because the visual, the style, and how everything went black, and the way it was animated, the way the visions of the people that were once there, like their smell remaining, and how he can see a little bit of the people inside of that smell. I thought that was really nice. It's a nice touch. It's a thing that only Trigger pays attention to, because those really minute, minor details, which you wouldn't expect that because they're kind of a studio that's like always in your face, hitting you with great action, hitting you with funny comedy and gags. Good example of how good they are at subtle things is there's an Inferno Cop reference in this first episode. You can see Inferno Cop on the monitor while the festival is going, which is a very nice, touching tribute for the voice actor who died recently in a very sad and tragic way. So he tracks down these people, the bomb explodes, the terrorists think they got him, but sad to say, they didn't exactly get him. He's still alive. He pops out and they just start firing all these guns at him and he's like blinking and teleporting. It's just so awesome just watching this scene because it's so hyper stylized in the Trigger way and the Kill La Kill way that we'd all come to expect. It's so stylized that even the guns they're shooting, the way they're reloading, the way they're aiming the weapons, it's all very hyper stylized, hyper visualized, and just you'd never see that in any other anime, really, and only Trigger is really paying attention to those small details, and you can tell they had tons of fun making this series, but just based off those small little details, like the way they reload, which is so goofy, and how the one guy aims his handgun sideways. It's just really nice. But the wolf guy actually uses his vision, smell-o-vision, I guess, to figure out that the terrorists were paid by the humans. We already have some conflict set up for the next couple of episodes at least of like, why did these humans pay for these beasts to do this? We already know there's a protest, so is it the protesters or is it having to do with the prime minister that we saw earlier? I wonder what's going on, because I can see a future where the prime minister is like, yeah, I supported you outright to get good favor, but I've been sabotaging you guys to play the long con, to play the long game, so that I can basically get rid of you all outright and everybody would support me. But during this fight, he gets a hold of the deer guy and he's like, you do not deserve to have antlers. And so he literally rips the antlers off and like basically almost kills him with his own antlers. It's such a cool fight. You have to see it. It's so amazing. And then for another guy, he basically uses him as a baseball. He starts bouncing him, dribbling him on the ground, and then just freaking kicks it at the other guys and knocks them out. It's so funny and so cool at the same time. I mean, even earlier in the episode when the monitor was falling on Kagemori and the old person that she was trying to move out of the way, the monitor was literally like, she was going crap, 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 and like the monitor was like, it was basically on top of them, but somehow they were still moving so fast that they could evade the monitor, and the wolf guy just comes out of nowhere, hits them, pushes them out of the way somehow in like a split second. I mean, it's just such a Trigger thing. It's so great. I'm just so happy. This is Trigger to me. Not Darling, not Gridman. This. What I'm watching, this is what I like about Trigger. And I love this first episode. It is so good. But we find out that the wolf guy who's always crying, he believes all humans are the same. Kagemori doesn't, and she says that she believes in the humans because she herself was a human. And then we get a little bit of flashback, and then the wolf is like, with that appearance? And then we cut to the ending scene. I'm very, very much into this series based off the first episode alone. It's so awesome. If you haven't already, I highly recommend it. BNA is a return to form, in my opinion, for Trigger. It's everything I've ever wanted. It's none of that Darling in the Franxx stuff. It's none of that Gridman stuff. It's actual Trigger. And I know that's unpopular to say for some people, and I know that's also very popular to say because there's a lot of people that hate those shows. I find it's very 50-50 sometimes, but this is Trigger. From beginning to end, this first episode sold me on everything happening in this series. It got me thinking, it got me excited, it got me to laugh, which is everything that I want from a Trigger anime. So absolutely, if you haven't already, go check out BNA. The first 6 episodes are up for certain people. You can find those on the other sites, but I'm not going to encourage that because that would be violating YouTube terms of service. But definitely, this is a series I plan to cover more in the future on this channel. So subscribe and ring the bell because I will absolutely be uploading more videos on BNA. So much like I did with Beastars, much like I've done with JoJo, much like I've done with Hunter x Hunter, expect more videos on BNA as the weeks go along, and the only way for you to get those is by subscribing and ringing the bell. So thanks everybody for watching this video. If you did, I appreciate it. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, ring the bell, comment down below what are your thoughts on BNA. Also know that I have a Patreon where on the $1 tier and above, you get access to everything. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.